I really didn't think that I was going to have to make a 41 week of pregnancy video, but here I am as a first-time mom to our baby boy, and I have this a final pregnancy update before our very unexpected induction. So let's talk about it. Like many other expectant moms, we are always looking forward to our due date, and mine happened to be on Father's Day this year, which was June 19th. And it came and went, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. I knew that it was very, very rare for anybody to give birth on their due date, but I just had this hope that he was going to come and it was going to be a miraculous birth on Father's Day and it was going to be amazing. And then it didn't happen. There is so much anticipation and hope that you are going to maybe even have your baby a little bit earlier just because you're so excited and you think your body is going to work a certain way, and then it just doesn't happen. And that's exactly what happened to me. It was really, really difficult on me emotionally and mentally. I had to have a few breakdowns, to be honest. And you know, it's natural. I know that there's a lot of women who have experienced the same thing. If that was you, then you are not alone, and I'm sure that we can all talk about our experiences, and I hope that you feel comfortable enough sharing some of your experiences with me. But it was tough. I will say that the day after, I had like this overwhelming calming feeling. I think because I knew that at that point my due date had come and passed and it was gone. Like at that point, it was just looking forward. So at that point, you're 40 weeks and you're like, okay, well, it's bound to happen someday, right? So I felt really at peace and I was just really like, okay, let's see when it happens. My body was very quiet. I didn't really have any signs that labor was imminent. So then I started really kicking up my natural labor induction methods that I was comfortable with trying. So mile circuit, spinning babies, red raspberry tea, evening primrose oil. I ended up opting for a membrane sweep, which I did not think I was gonna do. And then after talking to my doctor, I ended up getting it done, and I actually ended up getting it 3 times. That's right, I got 3 membrane sweeps. The last one was actually today at 41 weeks 2 days, and I've got some stuff to share about that. So I'm gonna make a separate video because I learned a lot. I had 3 separate experiences, which is apparently a lot more than what women typically require. So I wanted to just share my take, what I learned, my regrets, things that I would do differently next time, and just be able to help you out as a maybe first time mom who didn't really know what to expect from it. That was one thing that I really had to shift my mind on because I have gone so past my due date, is really having to adapt to this new changing situation, because I thought I was just going to go into spontaneous labor. I thought it was just going to be straightforward. I thought I was doing everything right. Walking, curb walking, those labor inducing workout videos that you see. I was doing so many things that I was like really starting to obsess over it. And it's something that, I mean, it's natural. You want things to happen naturally, but it just got to the point where I was relying more on that versus what I really wanted to do was surrender it all to Jesus and just have God write my birth experience and plan. And I was just really losing focus on that. I wasn't praying as I thought I was going to be. It was just, I was like in a, and I still kind of am in a spiritual rut. We are doing better now, praying every night for my health, baby's health, and just letting us surrender to his plan. But it just got to a point where I was really obsessing over it, and it got really unhealthy for me mentally, physically, emotionally, all of it. And I had been contending for a natural intervention free labor and delivery. I had everything just like a fantasy in my mind, and then it just didn't go that way. And like I mentioned earlier, I actually have an induction date right now. I really did not want to be induced. Pitocin was like the absolute last thing I wanted because I was understanding the physiological effects that it would have on my labor experience, and even just on the health of the baby. There's a lot of reasons why I didn't want to have Pitocin, and now it might just be part of my birth story. So there is nothing that I can do except accept it. I am so grateful that I have access to healthcare and they are able to monitor babies. So like, especially now that I am over 41 weeks, I have to have like a non-stress test to make sure that fluid levels are good, that baby is responding to like movement and like contractions in the right way. And there's just so many things that I have learned from going over my due date, and I really hope that I can help other women that are going through this situation, and even if I need it for other pregnancies, because I think at this point, if I've gone over my due date for one pregnancy, it's likely that it'll happen again. So yeah, just a lot of things that I have learned and know to expect next time or not to expect, and what it really means to just let Mother Nature do its thing until you actually have to let the medical professionals tell you what is safest for you and your baby. Overall, I have physically felt pretty good. I've only had a few standout nights where I have had real difficulty sleeping just because my back has been so uncomfortable, and I just have woken up like every hour tossing and turning. But luckily it doesn't happen all that often. I have definitely noticed an increase of like back pain and leg and foot pain just from walking around. Like going to Costco, I'm already prepared to be tired. Baby's really pushing down on that bladder. Yeah, I just feel more of the physical challenges of pregnancy now at the very, very tail end. I think I have been blessed with an amazing pregnancy. For the most part, I did have a lot of like morning sickness that I have talked about in other videos, but for the most part, I would say that I haven't been like super physically uncomfortable, which is I'm so grateful for. I personally am part of like Facebook groups that are for other women in my due month, and that has been a challenge. I really had to step away from there because there were so many birth announcements and labor posts, and it just really got me in my feelings and in my head because it wasn't happening for me, and I was just relying too much on using that versus like just focusing on what my personal experience was and being in prayer and just focusing on his plan for my labor and delivery. So I did have to step away from it and not go on Facebook, and that really helped my mental health. I just have to be really selective with what I'm consuming because I just haven't had my baby yet. So I don't want to get too into my head about like what I don't have and then just losing track of what's actually important, that I am healthy, that baby is healthy, and that things are gonna have to end, like pregnancy's gonna have to end, and then my start of motherhood is gonna be next. So just remaining focused on that. And yeah, there are so many things that I can talk about in terms of like what was going on in my brain throughout the last 2 weeks. It's like I'm on my maternity leave, but I don't have my baby, so then feeling guilty about that. I think I had these weird feelings of guilt for resting, sad that I felt like I didn't deserve it. It was just like this weird cycle, and I had to constantly have conversations with my husband, just talking about my feelings, and I don't know, a feeling of failure almost, and disappointment, and just really having to think through all of these emotions that I didn't know how to prepare for, because I really thought that he was just gonna come, you know, earlier on, and then it's like 39 weeks turns into 40 weeks, and now 41 weeks, and now we're scheduling an induction. That was really the last thing in my mind, and now it's happening. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, I just really have to let it go and then see what happens. Yeah, that's just a bit about what I have been experiencing, and I'm sure that there's a lot of things that I'm forgetting to mention. I just at least wanted to give an update. So yeah, I'm 41 weeks, 2 days today. I had a membrane sweep done today, and like I said, I am scheduled for an induction at 41 weeks, 4 days. So I really pushed it to the end before I opted for an induction. And yeah, there was a lot of emotional, mental turmoil with that, but like I said, it's doing what's best for the baby and just accepting it. God willing, like, I'm gonna have my son at the end of this very, very soon, at the end of this week, and yeah, hopefully he is just born healthy. It would be awesome if my body could go into spontaneous labor before my induction date, but if not, then I mean, I really, really tried and pushed it to the very end. So yeah, right now I am sitting at 3 centimeters dilated, 80% of face, and baby is at a -1 station. So my cervix is, you know, in a pretty favorable state, and we'll see what happens. I did want to do a belly shot, so let's get into it. So this is a 41-week belly. I have some stretch marks right along here. I have some on my hips, on my inner thighs. He has definitely dropped. Okay, look at how crazy this looks. Like, that's how you know baby really dropped. Crazy. Can you see that? Like, that's what it's like to have a waist. He's all down here, and he's been head down for a while, so that's good. I'm gonna miss my belly, but I'm also looking forward to not having to wear the same things over and over again. I am definitely planning to have a labor and delivery vlog and then a birth story video. So if that's something that interests you and you want to follow me along, I would love to have you join me. Thanks so much for joining me throughout this pregnancy journey, and I just can't believe that it's the end now. Sometimes I watch through some of my old videos like earlier on in my pregnancy, and I just get so emotional just thinking about everything that has happened since then. It feels like it's been so long, and then it has also flown by. So anyway, I am really grateful, and if you want to connect with me, you can follow me on Instagram at mrsdaisyringgold. It's also going to be linked down below. If you are pregnant, congratulations. Let me know how far along you are. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I love meeting other pregnant mamas, especially other first-time moms, because I needed all of the guidance that I could get, and just having connections with other pregnant women is super special. So my inbox is always open. You can subscribe, obviously, and follow me on my journey to motherhood. And yeah, I'm out of breath.